Truckers X TV on air. We are now live in 3, 2, 1.
Prologue. Crisis in Ferdiad.
You know, I knew there would be something different.
Upon his return to Garreg Mach, the humble Tomas shapeshifts and flees, and not even the Knights of Ceres's most concerted efforts can track down the erstwhile librarian. Dimitri elects to keep an eye on events from afar and not involve himself in the disturbance. Soon, however, an urgent message arrives from Ferdiad, capital of the Kingdom of Fargus.
Well, that was certainly an unexpected conclusion to the whole Tomas saga. Thanks to his shapeshifting ability, he slipped free of the Knights and escaped.
Shapeshifting?
Yes.
His power. Are you in?
If I am still,
Now that everyone. At least they've.
it's because. Hold on.
Ah, there you are.
Something wrong?
No, I simply wanted to check in after the unsettling events of the other day.
Well, it's not like I'm a quivering wreck or anything, but it's gonna make my life a lot harder if my powers end up being evil.
Perhaps. And yet... How do I put this? Power is neutral. The good or evil of it comes from the one who wields it. For example, I possess extreme strength, and have always believed this gift was bestowed upon me so that I might protect others. And you used your power to save us, which means it cannot possibly be evil.
Didn't mean to fish for sympathy there, but... well, thanks.
My apologies if I overstepped.
I've been looking all over for you, Prince Dimitri. Her Grace the Archbishop is asking for you. She requests that you come to the audience chamber immediately. Duke Fraldarius has arrived for a visit.
Rodrigue is here? I'm on my way. Let us continue this discussion later.
Hold on. What did you say?
I've only just heard the news, so I'm a bit hazy on the finer points. But it seems my uncle has seized control of the capital and declared war on House Fraldarius. All signs point to him wanting to stamp the line out entirely.
That's Felix's family, right? They're one of the kingdom's leading houses. What does the royal family gain from eliminating them?
I'd wager it has to do with House Fraldarius supporting my claim to the throne.
The bigger question is why the Grand Duke chose to launch an offensive now of all times.
Whatever the reason, he must have decided to act before His Highness's coronation could take place.
My uncle claims House Fraldarius is attempting to install me as their puppet. As such, he issued a written appeal to the Western Lords to help him rescue me from the Duke's foul clutches, as he puts it.
In what cruel world would our noble house take the reins of a boor like you?
Don't ask me, it's his pretext.
So what exactly is going on in the capital? You said it's been seized.
Oh dear. I do hope nobody there has been met with foul play.
He's in no position to engage such a move until I've been removed from the situation.
I say the Regent should be dealt with. I haven't heard one good thing about his leadership.
I've no intention of becoming a pawn in this game. All the same, I must return to Fargus at once. Didu, you will accompany me.
As you wish, Your Highness.
Felix, I'm sure your father will contact you soon. For now, just wait for Rodrigue to weigh in.
Ash?
Sorry, it's just that Lenato used to be in the Grand Duke's service, so...
He is a man of compassion. It's not out of the question he'll be swayed to my uncle's side. Truth be told, we're not sure where anyone's allegiances lie at this point. So let's not hasten to conclusions, any of us. We must all keep level heads. I'm told you are sending the knights to help us, Lady Rhea. I do not wish to sound ungrateful, but are you sure you want to do that?
The Church of Seiros cannot overlook this grievance.
Regrettably, many of our knights were dispatched elsewhere several days ago on another matter. However, while we may lack numbers, we have put together a unit of considerable skill. It will be captained by someone near and dear to you, in fact. Someone well suited to a mission within the kingdom.
Someone near to... Ah, of course. That is encouraging.
Since its very inception, we have watched over the kingdom of Fargus as one would their own child. When its peace is threatened, the Church has no choice but to act.
I have not forgotten your outpouring of aid after my father's passing 4 years ago. And I swear to repay that kindness in full.
One other thing. A suggestion, if you will, from the Church.
Interesting. So she wants all of us to go with you?
Yes. This time, the Knights of Seiros will be accompanying us, in addition to Professor Yuritsa.
Well, I certainly don't mind. But Annie and Ash, what about you?
You know I'm always behind you. But considering what it means for my uncle, I don't know. House Dominic's lands are surrounded by other houses that are likely to support Rufus's claim. If I join you, it could sour my family's relations with our neighbors.
I'll go. I mean, of course I don't want to get Lenato into any trouble. But I also know he'd want me to do what I think is right.
I'm sorry to place such a difficult decision on your shoulders, Ash. And what of you?
I'm in. The more time I spend here at the Academy, the more I miss actual fighting. Besides, I want to use my powers to help. After all, the good or evil of a thing comes from the person wielding it. Am I right?
Indeed it does. You have my thanks.
There you go again, throwing yourself headlong into the first conflict you find. No wonder I have to keep stepping in to guide you. Still, we basically have no choice, so run wild, I guess.
I'll inform you of the details soon. Please ensure you're prepared by then.
Temporarily parted ways with Annette. Just her. We'll be in for Annette before we know it. I guess I should see what the others are up to. Just only Annette. Why? Why? We'll deal with Dimitri in a bit. Rodrigue.
Yes, nice day we're having.
Well, now, are you the student of the Officers Academy? I'm Rodrigue Achille Fraldarius, the merry man at the center of the maelstrom we find ourselves in. You may have apologies for getting you involved in the recent discord. Hey, the name Shez. I've been working with the Blue Lions, at least for the time being. Then we are well met. Military strength will be essential if we are to take the Royal Coast, so I would ask your aid if the matter at all possible. He's a classmate? Alrighty then, Chief.
Got a second?
Hey, Trip, feel like your dad's getting worried. I know how unpleasant it feels to have people make weird claims about your family. Don't act as if you have it all figured out. That sort of thing would never bother me. So if that's not what's bothering you, why do you look like you just got punched in the gut? Because a certain someone's indecision is making me sick to my stomach.
Good.
Look, if you're that concerned about His Highness, you should just say something to him. Why should the job of cheering him up fall to me? Why, Annette? I know she already talked about that, the reason why, but still. Gilbert!
This way.
I am Gilbert, charged with commanding the Knights of Saros in the coming battle. Should the need arise, I would hope you rely on me. I will not permit any harm to come to the search of the Officers' Academy. The fact that you were specifically dispatched here must mean you have some connection to the kingdom, or maybe even the royal capital? Indeed, but only slightly more than the other knights. However, that does not mean every one of the Blue Lions will be joining us. Yeah, I guess Annette must have said some reason for not coming along, huh? I suppose so, yes. Damn. Mercedes, what do you know?
Oh, that's right.
Now that I think about it, I heard something when we were leaving in Garreg Mach. Evidently, Professor Yuritsa set out for the Imperial capital along with the Black Eagles. Ah, if I'm not mistaken, most of the Knights of Saros had some sort of business which kept from joining us on this mission. I'm certain it's not Academy related, but I wonder what Annie and the others are doing. Annette!
Well,
Are you sure this is okay, Ash? Lord Lunano was once a servant of the Grand Duke, after all. Yes, when he learned of the circumstance, he told me to hold on to what I believed was just.
Let's see.
Lord Lunano is your adopted father, right, Ash? He sounds like quite the man. Thanks. I hope I just be like him someday. Which is exactly why I'm going to do what I believe in, Ingrid. Don't worry. Maybe you really are suited to be a knight, Ash. Still living on the fairy tale. Do. What's that in the back? We can pick up items along the way? Exquisite old letter. I had business meeting coming up to Ferdinand, but that's been cancelled. It's hardly the time for that now. I'm sure you remember what the king went to meet with the leaders of Duscar, yes? Well, they were bested by the attackers from Duscar on the way here. They were all killed. Only the young prince made it. Someone marshaled an army and sent soldiers to raise Duscar immediately. In the meantime, Ferdinand is all in the chaos without a king. Duscar really made a mistake here. They're all going to be punished for the actions of a few extremists. Still, considering what they did, maybe they deserve it. I suppose that means we can no longer trade with Duscar. Shame. There's gold to be mined near, however you pronounce that, and their blacksmiths are exceptional. No matter what, don't do anything until I return. Merchant's letter sent from Ferdinand. What is that there? I love the Grand Duke. He tried to harm His Highness on countless occasions. His Highness' first campaign was suppressing the rebellion in the west. That too was a plot of the Grand Duke. Only because House Fraldarius did His Highness emerge unscathed. Assassination attempts continue unceasingly in the palace afterward as well, and given what happened with King something something, His Highness must be aware of the man's ill intent. Your Highness.
Got a sec?
Don't look so glum, Dimitri. Everyone's fights with their family at some point in their life. You're a wit like a rapier. Perhaps I do well to pick up on a bit on that cheer. I have a message sent to my uncle. A missive by which I'll not receive a reply. Please continue with preparation so we can set out. Alright. Was there something shining on the side?
You have my thanks.
Let's go.
The Duke has stamped out most of the troops who invaded Fraldarius. As things stand, a clash on royal soil and eventually within the capital is inevitable. As you are the only blood kin I have, my lord, I pray we might find a way to resolve this conflict peacefully. Bah, what rubbish. He sings of conciliation, but I know a threat when I read it.
Shouldn't you take better care of a letter from your dear nephew, my lord?
He's not expecting a reply. The creature means to slay me.
Your fear of Prince Dimitri runs deeper than I thought. You shouldn't have missed your chance 4 years ago in Duscar, or 2 years ago during the suppression of the rebellion. That's twice you failed to kill him.
I've learned my lesson. A lion's cub is still a lion, and one cannot slay a lion with a clumsy scheme. It's those monstrous eyes, Cornelia. They terrify me. The boy is a vicious animal, yet he attempts to feign actual grief that we can't find common ground. The aberrance of it shakes me to my core.
I understand completely.
Every night since I killed my brother, I dream a lion is ripping out my throat.
You'll run yourself ragged if you live your days in fear of revenge. You were meant to rule Fargus, and you have the power to make it so. Your royal army is the finest in the realm, and if I may be so bold, you also have me. Put your worries to rest, my king. Sleep deeply and without fear.
I'm so utterly tired. Tired of being afraid. Tired of what I've become. All of it.
I see. And how much longer until Tullus gives the word?
I know only that something is amiss in the Imperial capital.
Curse it all! I am not waiting 1,000 years for that doddering old fool to act. Rally the Western Lords and their troops, and be quick about it. Have them make ready to intercept that whelp.
As you command, Cleobulus.
According to our scouts, the enemy has positioned their troops on the capital streets.
So they can use the townsfolk as shields when we take the fight to them. With vulgar tactics.
Well, now that we know their strategy, our next move will be critical. A victory stained with the people's blood achieves nothing. We'll need to move our forces swiftly, but with caution. Dadu, has there been a reply from my uncle?
Nothing of yet.
I thought not.
Your Highness, will you truly be able to strike Rufus down when the time comes?
I will do what is required of me.
Preparations are complete, Your Highness.
The people are waiting for you, Dimitri. Let's not keep them any longer.
No, we'd best not.
You're our commander, but you look like you're heading for a funeral. Could you maybe try not being so insufferable?
Apologies for my demeanor. I've more than a few things on my mind. But very well. Let's begin our final war council.
You look pale. Not keen on fighting your own blood?
Sadly, I saw this fight coming long ago.
Then what's the problem?
Now that I've brought the fight to the streets of the capital, I wonder if my actions are right. Most of the people here favor keeping the royal line of succession. That's because my father and the kings before him maintained peace inside these walls. But ever since my uncle seized power, the people have been forced to endure his licentious reign. Did you know they asked me to assume the throne before my time at the Academy? They said only a true king could undo Rufus's misrule.
So why didn't you?
Because it would have divided the kingdom, just as it's doing now. Yet had I supported my uncle's claim, it would have been open rebellion. And the only way to prevent such a rebellion is to invade the capital and kill the regent. In other words, I cannot restore my grandfather's peace without first breaking it.
In that case, there's no reason to hesitate. You know fighting is the only answer here. You just have to accept it.
My apologies. I have a bad habit of agonizing over such things. And as all of you have come this far to help me, the least I can do is make an attempt at optimism.